What if I told you Adolf Hitler was originally meant to be a puppet, long before he took the stage, before anyone knew his name? A shadowy network of occultists and rich elites called the Thule Society had already designed everything: the ideology, the propaganda machine, even the swastika symbol. All they needed was a face. So they found Hitler. They funded him. They trained him and thought they could control him. They were wrong. Once he claimed total dictatorship, he systematically erased the society from existence. Now, to understand how Adolf Hitler came to power, you have to look past the history books and enter the shadow world of secret societies. The story doesn't start with Hitler. It starts with a mysterious man named Adam Alfred Rudolf Glauer. Rudolf was an adventurer who loved secrecy and power. He traveled to Turkey, where he spent years analyzing secret societies, mastering foreign diplomacy and political strategy. In 1918, during the First World War, Rudolf decided to go back to Germany and create a secret order called the Thule Society. To the outside world, the Thule Society presented itself as a little more than a study club for Munich's upper class. Its membership lists were filled with high-ranking doctors, university professors, wealthy businessmen, and former army officers. Behind those closed doors, however, it functioned as an underground political engine designed to capture power. But at the same time, Thule Society understood the fundamental truth about power structure. A room full of wealthy elites could draft a strategy, but they could never persuade the working class people. To control an entire country, an underground political movement faces a fundamental problem. It cannot stay hidden forever. At some point, wealthy elite needs a bridge to the public. They need a voice that ordinary people can hear, see, and follow. So because of that, Thule Society created two-tier strategy. The first part was controlling the narrative. In 1918, Thule Society leaders bought a local newspaper called the Munich Observer. It was a failing newspaper, but it gave the society an official media platform to begin publishing their political ideas directly to the public. The second part was creating an actual united political movement. Thule Society launched a small public organization called the German Workers' Party, the DAP. The plan was very simple. The Thule Society would remain behind closed doors to manage strategy and funding, while the DAP acted as a public gathering spot to attract working-class citizens. In September 1919, the operation hit a sudden turning point. The German military was nervous about small, radical political groups forming across Munich. They recruited a low-level army informant to attend a small meeting at a local tavern in the city center. The informant's job was very simple: sit in the back, listen, and report on whether this tiny group posed a threat. That informant was an unknown corporal named Adolf Hitler. Hitler did not walk into a random gathering of angry citizens. He walked straight into a public infrastructure built by the Thule Society. Initially unimpressed by the guest speakers, Hitler was preparing to leave when an audience member proposed that Bavaria should break away from Germany. Enraged, Hitler stood up and delivered a furious 15-minute argument against the idea. The party leaders in the room didn't just listen, they saw an opportunity. The small group had found someone who could command the crowd. A few days later, Hitler joined the party. He was unpolished, poorly dressed, and completely disconnected from influential, wealthy social circles. That was where Dietrich Eckart stepped in. Dietrich was a wealthy publicist, a master of political strategy, and a core member of the Thule Society. He recognized Hitler's raw talent as a speaker and took personal charge of his development. Dietrich bought Hitler tailored clothes, refined his public presentation, and brought him into the drawing rooms of Munich's industrial elite. Dietrich provided Hitler with everything he needed. He famously observed his role in shaping Hitler. Follow Hitler, He will dance, but it is I who have called the tune. The Thule Society's operations expanded rapidly. The society acquired another major newspaper and transformed it into the People's Observer. This recently acquired newspaper would eventually become the official propaganda engine of the Nazi Germany. Even the party's visual identity was adopted directly from the Thule Society's original symbol. Hitler took Thule Society's curved swastika symbol, straightened the edges into sharp lines, and established it as the official party symbol. By 1920, the Thule Society believed they had pulled off the perfect plan. They had written the political rules, but the media designed the symbols and trained the exact men they needed to win over the working class people. By 1921, Thule Society's founders still preferred the quiet influence of a secret society. Hitler demanded an official, public political party. Hitler knew the Thule Society was nothing without his explosive public appearances. Hitler, out of nowhere, handed in his resignation. This announcement sent shockwaves through the leadership. The party's growth, its crowds, its rising donations were tied entirely to one man's voice. If Hitler actually resigned, the movement would collapse overnight. Hitler made his demand crystal clear. He would return on one condition: unquestioned, complete control over the Thule Society. The Thule Society had no other options, so they accepted his terms. Once Hitler gained complete control over the society, he purged original figures and transformed what was supposed to be a secret society into his own personal political party. The Thule Society's founder, Adam Alfred Rudolf Glauer, wasn't there to stop him. He had already fled Munich for Turkey yet again in 1919, after Thule Society members were implicated in the violent overthrow of the Bavarian Soviet Republic and the execution of communist prisoners. The turning point came in 1933. On January 30th, Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. That same year, Rudolf returned to Munich, expecting a hero's welcome for building the movement's foundation. Instead, he found Hitler erasing Thule Society to paint himself as the self-made savior. Rudolf was enraged. He decided to publish Before Hitler Came, a book exposing internal documents, funding records, and proof that Thule Society created the party, bought the paper, and supplied the symbol. Hitler's regime answered with total force. In 1934, the Gestapo banned the book, arrested Rudolf, and forced him back into permanent exile. In 1945, the very day Nazi Germany surrendered, Rudolf's body was found floating in the Bosporus Strait. This was the end of Adam Alfred Rudolf Glauer and Thule Society and the Nazi Germany.